Well, when I was younger and growing up, I liked movies. I wasn't too particularly saying, "Oh, I like that kind of genre," or "I like that." I just, I just used to follow stars and just, and again, it wasn't really. I didn't go to the movies a lot. Um, I'm just trying to think. When I did go to, I mean, I think it probably started again right about the probably something 1970. We were living in Hawaii in Kailua, and there was a theater down the street in Kaneohe, and so I was 13, and I wanted to go see Little Big Man with Dustin Hoffman, and so they dropped me off. I went to the movies by myself. They dropped me off, and I think that was the first time that I really noticed cinema in the storytelling of, and this of course was on the other side of where it was what they call it, a revisionist western by Arthur Penn directed it, about giving it from the Indian side of the story, and so it really left a mark on me. I'm like going, wow, the whole idea of them talking about this and looking and saying, oh, here's a totally different point of view. And I think America at the time, because of the new revision and going on the new cinema, this was part of it. And I really walked away from it thinking, a 13-year-old kid going, oh, the storytelling was great, and I really enjoyed it. And as we got more into the early 70s and film really started ratcheting up, and there was new directors and new ways of telling a story and new thoughts, I think I really was picking up on it. And then when I got the job at the AVCO 50 years ago in 1974, it was interesting to see film all the time on the big screen and to look at it and to really, and sort of like really study it, look at how the story's told, look at the direction, look at the production, look at the acting, and then also the other good part was seeing the reaction from customers, the patrons while they were in the theater, and so like when Blazing Saddles was playing there all the time, and after seeing the movie, standing in the back of the theater, you would know what time they were, when the laughs were going to hit. So, and then of course, again, when we had the Towering Inferno there, and when of course Barry Lyndon. So it was just a really interesting time to see movies, to observe them, and to really kind of get like much more, of a feel. And again, we used to have a lot of sneak previews. I think I told you, Terrence Malick, he did whatchamacallit, Badlands. He snuck that movie there, and and that was really his big foray into the start of his career. So and the AVCO was just a great place. Everybody everybody from walk of life would be there. And of course actors would come in all the time and see screenings. Mel Brooks was there all the time with Blazing Saddles to see how that was doing, because that was the theater in LA that was showing the movie, and like I said, I saw Peter Finch there, saw Stallone there. So it was, and everybody, Gene Hackman, everybody just mingled. Everybody was fine. It was, Lee J. Cobb, Johnny Friendly, he came in one day. So it was just a great place to work and to really enjoy it. So, and, well, I mean, I don't know if you ever heard the story that he screened it there for the Warner Brothers elite and their families, and they didn't like it, and he was getting notes all the time. You need to cut this scene from the movie. No bean scene. No hitting cattle. No this and that. And so by the time it was all whittled down, Mel Brooks, there was it would have been like a 10-minute movie. And John Calley, who was running the studio, told Mel Brooks, and this happened at I don't know if it was at the office upstairs or the main office downstairs. That's where they're having the meeting. And Mel Brooks was like, I want to have a movie here. And John Calley goes, Mel, if you remember, you have first right of refusal. You're the director. So Mel Brooks crumpled up the paper and threw it in a trash can, and John Calley goes, nice filing. So everybody got, so the movie stuck, and it went on, and it got a couple nominations, right, for the song "Blazing Saddles" for Madeline Kahn, and it was a huge hit for them. So it's definitely, it's 50 years old this year. I think Mel's the only last surviving member of the movie, but the movie's is phenomenal, and it still cracks up people. Even though I don't think you can make a movie like that today, because Richard Pryor came on, and eventually, he was first thought to play Bart, and then Warner Brothers got nervous, and so they picked Cleavon Little. But I understand that Richard Pryor and Cleavon Little ran things past each other, and per Mel, and because Mel would say, "Do you feel comfortable with that?" to Cleavon Little, and Cleavon Little would go, "Yeah, I don't have a problem with that." So I guess if he felt comfortable with it, then it stayed in the movie. So I don't know. I think maybe, but I think also is, Warner's was nervous about with Cleavon Little, with Richard Pryor with his drugs, and I think and so that's, I think, and that was 1974. His drug thing really erupted back in '80 when he caught fire when he was freebasing. But I think with Cleavon Little, I think he was a little bit more gloss for the role. And I think that he was, and instead of being, because I think he did Broadway, I think he was a safer choice. And I think he nailed it, and then of course also Gene Wilder. It was going to be, I think I told you, Gig Young was going to be the drunk, the Waco Kid, and on the first day of shooting, I guess Gig Young went through DTs. He was foaming at the mouth and this and that, and Mel Brooks says, "Oh my God, he's so authentic, he's really happening here, and then realized that he was really sick. So he got on the phone and he called Gene Wilder, who was I think he was in London, and he said, "Could you come out and help me?" And he said, "Sure." Jumped on a plane, came out, and ended up being the Waco Kid. And then of course, go ahead. And then of course, the whole story again with Madeline Kahn, and she wasn't happy. She was doing Maine with Lucille Ball on the lot, and she wasn't happy working with Lucille Ball. The story is, so she heard that when there was a opportunity to audition for Mel for Lily Van Stoop. Mel told the story when we were at LA Live about he brought her into his office, and he said, "Listen," he goes, "I want to see your legs," and she goes, "Oh, it's that type of casting call," and he goes, "No, I'm a happily married man," and he goes, "But you're doing Melita Dietrich, and with the fishneck stockings and the whole nine yards." I need to say, she goes, "Oh, why don't you say so?" So she hiked up her legs, and he goes, "She got the part." So I mean, she was a talented actress anyway. She had come off the year before being nominated for Paper Moon, so she had 2 years in a row that she was Paper Moon in '73, and '74 she was nominated for Blazing Saddles. Yeah, in '78 he got married. He was married about 3 or 4 times. One of them was. I'm trying to remember, not Joyce Young. She was a real estate agent here in town, but he was also married to Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched, and so he had I guess he had a lot of insecurities, and I think that also led to his drinking. But the really funny part is, for each one of the roles that he was nominated for, and winning again for They Shoot Horses, Don't They in 1969. He played people that, Teacher's Pet in 1958. He played people that were kind of like drinkers. So I don't think it was too far off the beaten path. But yeah, he married somebody that was younger, and I guess there was whatever issues that he had. He shot and killed her and killed himself. I think this happened in New York in their apartment back in 1978. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sam Peckinpah. But he also did Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. He was also in that, and when he plays with, oh my God, Robert. I'm trying to remember his name. It'll hit me in a second here. He was like in. Do you remember 10? The movie 10. He played Dudley Moore's like his buddy, the gay guy that lived at the beach. Anyway, these two guys had a really interesting relationship. And then Warren Oates said, okay, fine, because they wanted to, that he knew where maybe could. They offered him money to find, Alfredo Garcia, and Warren Oates said to the Gig Young character, he goes, well, what name do I ask for? And he said, Fred C. Dobbs, which is the name of Humphrey Bogart in Treasure Sierra Madre, which was a really that was one of Sam Peckinpah's one of his favorite movies. In fact, there's in The Wild Bunch, there's also a lot of emphasis with the Treasure Sierra Madre in that movie too. So anyway, so Gig Young played a kind of like a interesting character in that. Well, we were going to talk. I just said I was set these up so my wife could see some movies, but I found like the first 4 movies in the early to mid 70s that our buddy Mr. Scorsese directed. He got Mean Streets, okay, which is the movie that really put him on the map, and Warner Brothers really got behind it, and really his really the beginning of his association with Robert De Niro. And then Warner Brothers recommended him with Ellen Bernstein was looking for a new director, somebody different, and she asked the studio, is there anybody that you can recommend? And they said, you should go see this and see if you want to deal with this director. And she had come off the nomination for The Exorcist, and of course she was also in The Last Picture Show too. She was nominated for that. So she did this. This was this was her project, and he got her an Academy Award. She did the movie and she won an Academy Award. So this sort of gave him a little more credence in Hollywood. And then his next movie after, and it's funny because this has Harvey Keitel in it. This has Harvey Keitel in it. And then he went with this. This was his next movie after, and that has Harvey Keitel in it. And then back with his association with Robert De Niro, so. And again, Paul Schrader wrote this screenplay. I saw this movie it was a UA fourplex over in Westwood. And when I walked out of it, I said, this was 76. I said, I never want to go to New York, because New York was really going at the ebb at that time right there. So then he also had done, I have it somewhere. He also did at that time The Last Waltz, and with the band's swan song Farewell up in San Francisco, and that became his association with Robbie Robinson. So after the Taxi Driver, his last movie in 1970 was New York, New York, which was a musical, again with Robert De Niro and Liza Minnelli. And which it didn't do very well, and I guess that was the start of the spiral of him, do him and Robbie Robinson, I guess, became buddies and started doing a lot of drugs. So. And then it was, I think it was Raging Bull that finally pulled him out of it, and that came out. Again, another movie he didn't want to do, but De Niro talked him into it. So anyway, I was going to show you Cinema Cat, Baby Cat. Come here. So anyway, no, yeah, Columbia was Taxi Driver, and that was done. Which is really, it's done by Michelle, Michael, and Julia Phillips, which was the team with Tony Bill. They won the Academy Award for The Sting. So this sort of opened them up to do that. No, that was Columbia. The first 2 are Warner Brothers, and then this was United. This was United Artists. This is a United Artists movie, and then I guess also Raging Bull was also United Artists. So I think. Scorsese's had some really good. I mean, Goodfellas is Warner Brothers, which is fun, which I love. I'm just trying to think of the other ones that he had through Warner Brothers, because he's the Aviator is also Warner Brothers. That started really, part of his association with Leo DiCaprio, which De Niro recommended him when they did A Boy's Life. He told. De Niro told Scorsese, because you should see this kid. You'd be on the lookout for him. So both the actors have shared a great great working experience with Scorsese. Out of these four, might as well get brutal. Show a Taxi Driver. You know, I mean, again, I didn't really know it. I went with my late brother, who was about 15, about a year and a half younger than years younger than me, and then we went to the theater, and I was just like, I think he was silent. Just like I said, I'm not believe, but I love. In fact, my favorite scene in the movie. When's the last time you saw Taxi Driver? Okay, so what do they like it? Yeah. Now I haven't seen Joker, so and that again, that's a Warner Brother movie. I need to see that. I was gonna say that my what where I thought the insanity in the movie was is when Scorsese was the passenger and he says, "Pull up there and look at there. That's my wife." And have you ever seen what a 44 Magnum can do? And I was like going, "Holy shit." I mean, this is, and the look on De Niro's face is classic as he's like going, I mean, he's kind of skirting onto the edge, but he's like realized this guy is crazier than he is, you know. So, and I mean, everybody was. Peter Boyle was good in it. I like the guy that came in that had sold him all the guns and said, you want a Cadillac and get your Cadillac brand new. So, it's just. Go ahead. Yeah, I believe it. He did a good job. In fact, I just saw Raging Bull just recently, and I never noticed because when it first came out back in when I saw it back in 1980. But John Turturro's in it. He's at the table when at one of the restaurants. So he has a face. He doesn't have a face. He has a side, and he kind of turns, but he's sitting at the table. He doesn't have a speaking role. He's just there. He's right, right, right. hmm Right. Well, I remember when seeing to let me see here, To Live and Die in L.A., the William Friedkin movie, and he had a nice major part in that, and so I thought, oh, hey, this guy's very interesting. And then, of course, Barton Fink and Miller's Crossing both showed up at the same time, and he was in both of them. And then also, so he became like a steward with the Coen brothers. I think he's been with them for a long time. Brother, where art thou? So and I think Barton Fink really kind of cemented because he was the lead in that movie. So I think that really, that kind of brought him up, to a level that people were starting, to notice him. So I mean, it's funny because in a lot of ways, I still think Martin Scorsese has like an independent, geist about him. That he's still that type of director. He's like all the success he's had, being nominated, finally winning an Academy Award, and here at, getting another one here at 81. There's still like that independent. Yeah, yeah. There's still that that independent streak in him, and I think that they always kind of gear themselves up to look for actors that were, as again as part of the new Hollywood. It wasn't all about glamour anymore. It was like looking for people like De Niro, looking for people like Pacino, looking for people that looked like they didn't look like they came out of an MGM wardrobe and makeup. I was going to say the closest sort of that you had that look, and you're talking about Warner Brothers, is going back to Warner Brothers with the Cagneys and the George Raffs and the Humphrey Bogarts. They had that kind of street feel that I think that Scorsese sort of like was attracted to. So yeah, yeah, color. Yes, that was yeah. That and Frederick Forrest Whitaker's in that too. So you, yeah, yeah. Oh, Spike Lee likes him too. Of course, he was in Do the Right Thing, right? Right. Do the Right Thing was 89. So yeah, so he was just like hitting on all cylinders at that time. Right. Right. And it's funny. I'm trying to think. I think I have the movie somewhere in the vault. But again, going back with Scorsese and Robbie Robinson. Robbie Robinson did helped do the soundtrack on that movie. So, and it's the irony is all the years that they worked together. excuse me. This is the first time that Robbie Robinson finally got nominated for this movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, and and so it's kind of heartfelt, so which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so they had again. I understand that anytime Scorsese was doing a movie going forward, he would throw the project over to him and ask him, Robbie, get involved in this, and what are you looking for? So, and then so okay, what I was gonna say, yeah, right, right. Now I was gonna say, if you talked about the first four movies, I'd go with Taxi Driver, but this is definitely, just hands down. Again, it's when I went to go see it, the guys at the Vertello's out in the Valley recommended me to see it, and they said it's the flip side of The Godfather. This is like people that you wouldn't really know. The Godfather was more glossy and this and that. He goes, this is more real, and again, it's so funny because Scorsese, he had the opportunity, I guess, thought about that he was going to be a priest. Thank God he didn't go down that road, because look at the stories we would have missed.